So eWed was, well, I'll start with a little bit about me, and that will lead into a little bit about
Sure.
I was a wedding planner for
No way.
7 years. Yes.
Oh, so you know the pain then. You've been in the trenches.
Right. So that's how I got, introduced to the idea of event insurance in the first place, through being a wedding planner. And I looked at it and said, wow, this is just really smart. And I looked at, the companies out there doing it, and I said, they're really doing a bad job. There are a bunch of, insurance companies that don't know how to speak to brides. They don't understand the wedding business. They don't understand, the realities around it. And I said, I can do a much better job at this. So that became, a 2-year process to get eWed up and running. But we launched a couple of years ago. Business has been great. We have, phenomenal month-over-month growth. And I looked at it, I said, you know what? Brides need wedding insurance that actually speaks to the realities of weddings, not what an insurance company thinks weddings are like.
Sure. So are you mostly focused then on weddings? Do you do other type of events, or is it just mostly weddings?
100% on weddings right now.
We've
got, anniversaries, birthday parties, mitzvahs coming down the line. But right now, we saw the biggest market being weddings.
Okay, got it.
And large amounts of money on basically, 1, 2, 3 day affair.
Sure. Okay, and tell me, why do you think that couples need wedding insurance?
Well, that's sort of a loaded question. I'm in the business.
Okay, well, give me the top 3 reasons why you think that they need it.
Yeah, what got me interested in it is, the average wedding's around $30,000. I don't know anything that anyone buys in their life for $30,000 and doesn't insure it. They're spending a lot of money on something that's going to happen one day. They're paying a lot of money to vendors and suppliers they've probably never met before, guaranteed never worked with before. And, there's a big risk factor. And then you look at wedding insurance, for liability and cancellation component. It's only about 1% of the cost of the wedding. So, the example I give is if you've got a $30,000 budget, and you want to buy insurance, your budget now goes to $29,700. That's a no-brainer. Why would you not buy insurance for, the cost of the insurance compared to, the potential risk that you lose everything on the wedding if there's an accident, an injury, severe weather, fire, flood, things like that.
Sure. And so tell me how during this season of a pandemic, with so much turmoil, especially in the wedding industry, how has weddings, if any at all, has it helped, or what should couples be doing during this time in order to protect themselves and their investment?
Well, there's a couple of different things. The most common question today, obviously, is their COVID coverage. And if you were smart or lucky and you bought insurance last year, you do potentially have protection against COVID. Back in February and March, every insurance company out there either pulled out of the business completely or put a COVID exclusion. So there's no more COVID coverage, but there's still lots of good reasons to buy insurance because we just had a groom who got in a bike accident a week before his wedding. That's somebody that's going to need wedding insurance. Venues still go out of business, not related to COVID. There's still hurricanes, there's still floods. But my advice for people now is read the contracts and read the small print on the contracts. Everyone used to just sign with the venue or the videographer or the band and not read any of the small print. Read the small print. I used to tell people about a force majeure clause, and unless you went to law school, they didn't know what a force majeure clause meant.
Yeah, that hurts my head.
Everyone knows what a force majeure clause is now. And I say read the contract, and it's a very simple question. If something goes wrong, if, there's a government order for a shutdown or something, a force majeure clause generally says neither party's responsible for fulfilling their side of the contract. That's great. But that doesn't say, and what happens to the deposits that we're already paying.
Right.
Go to your vendors and talk to them. most vendors are not looking to take advantage of a wedding couple, just like a wedding couple is not looking to take advantage of the situation. Everyone wants to make it work, and most people are postponing. Weddings don't get canceled, they get postponed. And just have an honest, upfront conversation with all of your vendors so you're on the same page, so there's no surprises as to if the government, orders another shutdown or on gatherings, what are the options, and have it spelled out in writing in a contract.
Yes. So, so I guess one of the lessons to take for here is to definitely ask about the force majeure clause in the contract, and then figure how that could potentially apply to insurance.
Correct. You have to figure out what does it say. It doesn't do any good to read it and not pay any attention to it.
And yeah, I not really know. And then I know that like you mentioned, there's a lot of event companies out there. But why should we go with eWed insurance? What do you think makes you guys stand out from all the rest?
No problem. I spent 2 years negotiating with our insurance company because that's great and the most comprehensive insurance. I can go into some of the technicalities of it, but it's basically we provide broader coverage for a less expensive rate. We have higher limits for loss of deposits. We have higher limits for extra expenses. We cover 3 full days of events, from the rehearsal dinner through the farewell brunch. And we speak to the bride. Our website is easy to use. Our application, is mobile friendly. On average, other insurance companies' applications ask 67 questions. We ask about 10. So
wonderful. Could you hear me okay? Could you hear the noise in the background?
I do hear a little noise.
I'm so sorry. Of course, this was doing construction right when I'm out here. I also wanted to ask you, how can they reach you if they wanted to purchase wedding insurance? What's the easiest way?
The easiest way is to go to our website, ewedinsurance.com. That's ewedinsurance.com. They can always email me directly, david@ewedinsurance.com. But everything is done exclusively online. It's super simple.
So easy.
I have a lot of people that call up and ask questions, and then they look at the website and they go, oh, all the questions are already answered. That's the way I tried to design it. Being a wedding planner, I know the questions a bride or a wedding couple are going to have, and I answer those questions up front on the website to make it super simple and easy.
Awesome. And Dave, what are the most popular type of policies that couples normally get? Like, I know that venues sometimes require couples to get insurance, but let's say that a venue doesn't require them. What should couples be thinking about things that they could be covered, that they should be covered?
Certainly. For wedding insurance, there's 2 types of policies. There's liability insurance and cancellation. Liability insurance is the ones that venues require most often, and most venues are requiring it, because virtually every venue contract says, wedding couple, if you cause any damage or your guest cause any damage to the venue, you're responsible for that. So that's $119 for $1 million in coverage. It's very beneficial if someone causes damage or there's an injury that they're responsible for. But it can also protect them if someone leaves the wedding drunk and gets into a car accident. Even though they had nothing to do with serving the liquor, they're still going to get sued, and it's going to cost them $25,000 in legal fees to prove they had nothing to do with it. And that's what liability insurance covers. The other type of insurance is cancellation insurance, and that basically reimburses the couple if there's a lost deposit due to an unforeseen circumstance, and that's an illness, an injury, a vendor bankruptcy, a fire, flood, with the obvious exclusion of COVID.
Wow. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. And I think it's just wonderful, right? Because it's like a peace of mind for the couple if they get it. I mean, I imagine that not a lot of couples end up using the insurance, but it's a peace of mind for sure, right? Just to have.
I'm sorry. You need to repeat that. You cut out for a second.
Oh, so sorry. I was just saying how it's a peace of mind just to get the insurance. It's not necessarily thinking that something horrible is going to happen, but just like the peace of mind that if something were to happen, they're going to be okay.
That's exactly right. For basically 1% of the cost of the wedding, you can have peace of mind that if something goes wrong, you can be covered. Now, insurance is not a perfect solution. There's no perfect solutions in the world. And I say this, and I don't need to be flippant about it, but if you don't have insurance, I can promise you nothing is covered. If you do have insurance, at least you have a decent to a good chance that you'll be covered by whatever goes wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is wonderful. Is there anything else you want to share I'm going to repost this video on my feed. And is there anything else you want to share with the viewers here? Any good nuggets of information?
It's really straightforward. It's, the only thing I would really say is, when you look at the cost of the wedding compared to the cost of the insurance, insurance is inexpensive insurance to, potentially protect you if something goes wrong. I can't tell you how many brides I've had call me that made a claim and got paid for the claim and said, you know what, when I bought this insurance, I never thought I was going to need it. And I'm so grateful and so glad that I did buy it.
Someone's asking here, how common is it for couples to purchase event insurance?
You know what, that's changing greatly.
Yeah.
It used to be,
optional.
Small percentage of couples bought insurance. Since COVID, it's growing exponentially because wedding couples have had their eyes open to the benefits of wedding insurance and the fact that something can go wrong.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that a lot of venues are requiring event insurance. And I just think it's a good idea overall.
What we've seen is, initially we sold a lot more liability insurance than cancellation because the couples were buying liability because it was required by the venue. But, since COVID hit, couples have figured out that there are other issues besides what the venue requires them, and we're selling a lot more cancellation. So most couples are buying both cancellation and liability together.
Someone's asking for cost of liability and cancellation insurance. Is it
sure? Liability is $119, and all of this is available on the website. Cancellation insurance ranges anywhere from $75 to $544, depending on the level of coverage you buy. We sell a micro wedding policy that covers $5,000 for $75, all the way up to a $100,000 policy for $544. And most people buy insurance roughly equal to their wedding budget, because if something goes wrong the day before, they've already paid everyone in full, and they're going to lose everything in their budget.
Lose everything. Sure. David, this has been amazing. Like so much information. I'm so excited to continue to work along with you, to refer you to my couples. It's so comforting to know that you know the business very well, that you've been a planner yourself, and you know our struggles, especially during these times. So it really makes me so happy to see your face and have you have joined me today. Thank you for making the time.
My pleasure.
To be with
Sorry
me
about
today.
My pleasure.
That's okay. How are things in New York?
New York, we were really popular at the beginning.
Right.
We've sort of faded away, and you know what? This is one time that's absolutely good not to be in the front of the line.
I hear you. Well, hopefully California will get our act together too.
Well, I grew up in California, so my heart goes out to really everyone across the nation that's been negatively impacted.
I know it's been tough, especially for the wedding industry. I mean, not just especially, but we're definitely feeling it here in the wedding industry here in California. So hopefully things get better.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so good to see you, David. Thank you so much, and thanks to everyone that joined us. I'm going to repost this video and continue to dig deep into making sure that all our couples are protected, and we'll send you over some of our couples, David. Thank you so much.
That would be great. And if anyone wants to email me, they can email me directly at david@ewedinsurance.com.
Thank you, David. Take care.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a good day.
Bye.